Good afternoon, everybody. This is Bryan Quick. I am the project specialist for financial services in the United States. I'm sorry I couldn't be with you in person today. I'm on the road talking to customers about Microsoft Project. And yes, there are people at Microsoft that just do Microsoft Project, and I'm one of them. I've been at Microsoft for 7 years and happy to be with you today. What I want to focus on today is how does Microsoft Project fit into the Office 365 story, and what is our roadmap and the upcoming announcements that are going to be made at Ignite, kind of a preview. And so without further ado, I'll get started with sharing my presentation. I'm coming to you today from sunny Florida and on the road talking to folks about Microsoft Project. And I'm in St. Augustine, Florida. Can everybody see my slide?
Yes, we have it.
And I thought, what better place to have a discussion about Microsoft Project than St. Augustine, Florida, the oldest city in America. Microsoft Project has been around since 1984. The first version was available via the DOS operating system, and we've evolved since then, but projects haven't changed. The old fort in St. Augustine was probably built with a project plan on some paper and with some ink, just the tasks that need to be accomplished, who's doing them, and so forth. So the need for project planning has certainly evolved, but it hasn't changed. And it's what a lot of businesses rely on in order to get things done. But at Microsoft, we're not just sticking with the old way of doing things, we're moving forward, just as the state of Florida is moving forward and becoming the destination for a lot of folks seeking warmer weather and a little bit more progressive economy. So just wanted to review a little bit where we've been with Microsoft Project and as a project portfolio management system in the cloud. Some of you probably already know that we've had Project Online available for quite some time, since the 2013 version came out. And it helps folks ideate, plan, and execute their projects on the Office 365 platform. It also helps with collaboration, insight, and extensibility, all built on the Microsoft Cloud. And so it's probably not the first workload that you guys are working on in terms of adoption in your Office 365 tenants, but it's definitely one that should be on the list. And it's a complete solution, leveraging a lot of the other tools that we have available in Office 365, like Teams and Power BI and Flow, and a lot of those other areas that we're going to be touching on today in order to provide project management excellence. Microsoft is in the game for quite a while with PPM. We didn't just get started. We have 20 million users and 15,000 companies worldwide using our tool sets. We have a lot of customer testimonials in the space too. But when it comes to harnessing the power of the Microsoft Cloud, Microsoft Project can really help you get to the cloud. A lot of your companies are facing a digital transformation mandate, and you need to build your systems, either port them over, lift and shift, or rebuild, reassess, re-architect your systems in the cloud. A lot of that's being done in Office 365. A lot of that's being done in Azure, whether it's software as a service, platform as a service, etc. And Microsoft Project is one of those cloud services that can help you get the rest of your cloud services to the cloud by helping you plan effectively, reinvent your business processes, and move forward.
Hey, Bryan?
Yes.
Is Project built as a separate database entity on, say, SQL or Access or whatever it's built on, or is it built on SharePoint and then modified to add on as Project?
Project Online is, and the project data is part of the SharePoint Online content database. It's not separate. It's completely contained within that, and those tables and those fields don't light up until you basically assign a user to a Project Online license.
Yep, thank you.
So Project Online is part of your larger Office 365 and Microsoft platform ecosystem. So you've got Power BI in there. You've got, of course, your workloads in Office 365 that you guys are all working with on a daily basis. But you also got Dynamics, Azure DevOps, Planner, and some other areas that you may be dabbling with or maybe moving toward. Project is obviously part of that. So having your project and portfolio management system in the same place as you manage the rest of your enterprise collaboration just makes sense, because then you're not going somewhere else to manage projects. We've done a lot with the platform recently. We have Planner integration now. Did you guys know that? That basically you have a relationship and out-of-the-box integration with Microsoft Planner so that you can actually connect tasks that are going on inside project schedules with planner plans. We have flow integration now, and I'm going to show some of that today. We have Scrum and Kanban boards in Microsoft Project Online. We have a Power BI content pack that allows out-of-the-box insights in using Power BI. We're fully GDPR supported as part of the Office 365 privacy and security. We came out with a 2019, excuse me, a 2019 version quite recently, and now so the online is equivalent to that. And we have a new thing called Roadmap, which I'm going to show you today. But we're doing more and more. There's going to be some major announcements at Ignite, so I encourage you to come to the Microsoft Project sessions at Ignite if you're going to be there, or watch them online. Can't get into too much NDA discussion on this call, but happy to do that with your individual companies prior to Ignite, or just make sure you're visiting Ignite or experiencing it online. Of course, using projects in Office 365 means you're fully compliant as far as the systems and are concerned on our end. And so if you're putting the data in there in a compliant way, we've got that covered for you. But using a PPM solution in the cloud can help you scale automatically, managing up to 30,000 projects at any given time. With our cloud infrastructure, you don't have to even tell us you're putting more of them in there, or users will just scale it automatically. Don't maintain a PPM system infrastructure on-prem. Some of you may be using legacy Clarity or PlanView tools on-prem. We can get that into the cloud for you, and of course, into the Microsoft Cloud. Some of the key challenges that we hear about from our customers that you may be hearing in your cubicles is project management processes are manual, time-consuming. Many companies are using spreadsheets and Word documents to do project management. There's a lack of reporting because everything's manual and kind of dispersed everywhere. And then there's no way to collaborate across projects. Project Online helps solve those kind of problems. And we do get quantifiable results. This came from a Forrester report recently, which said that 60% time savings on reporting processes for project managers, 387% ROI. So it's real. It helps folks out. I talk to folks about it every day. So what it really does is helps you ideate and use a workflow to get your ideas in so that your ideas become part of a centralized funnel, and then helps you make decisions about which ideas are most impactful to your business. So think about a digital transformation project. We're trying to get those things up in the cloud. We're trying to transform our systems. Which ones are we going to do first? What are the most strategic? So we can do that with Project Online. Capturing business demand. We can also encourage ideation by providing like perhaps a gamification angle to encouraging ideas at your company. A lot of you probably know how to do that in SharePoint already. We can help you plan. So we can align investments to strategy, choose which projects you want to do objectively, monitor progress toward those goals, and gain visibility across work. So we can also rate your projects low, medium, and high across your enterprise strategic drivers. We can optimize our portfolio, leveraging different cost constraints. What we can also do is compare portfolios against one another to figure out what's the optimal portfolio. Did you guys know Office 365 can do all this stuff?
No.
Got some head shaking no in the room here.
I would actually love to hear about gamification in SharePoint at a later point in time.
Sure. I used to manage a SharePoint team over at cars.com, and we did a little bit of custom development on top of SharePoint, where we did a gamification engine that was Star Wars driven. So we had Jawas if you submitted one idea, and then you became a Jedi if you submitted and liked other people's ideas. Happy to share that story with you.
I would love to see more of that.
We did not get copyright and trademark for that.
Ah, dang, but.
So develop realistic project plans. So of course, Microsoft Project is at the core of this, guys. So a lot of your project managers prefer and are educated in how to use Microsoft Project. That's how the schedules get in there. What we can also do from there is we have resource management and heat mapping capabilities where we can basically take your organization in IT or throughout the organization and the enterprise, and we can figure out who's got capacity for work versus their availability across the board, and provide resource managers with the reports they need.
I have a question about the resource management. Are the resources managed across the portfolio of projects? Because that was always. in the past, big challenge, if you had 3 different project managers, they each have the same person 100% in 3 different project plans.
Yeah, that's right, Larry. Basically going to that SharePoint Online content database, again, there's a pool of resources, an enterprise resource pool, and it's updated from Active Directory. So it's one-stop shop, centralized location for resource planning. When you build a team on your project plan, you're not just putting Joe Blow in there, you're putting Joe Schmidt, and it's the one that's in the resource pool. So we're able to, and then run reporting off Power BI off that, and we're able to figure out how much Joe's available.
And that's
The
kind of
big
what we're seeing
problem-
here in this screenshot then, right? Where the
Yeah,
red
that's
areas are people that are overcommitted across multiple projects.
Yeah, that's right.
The big problem we always ran into is that it's very easy to actually manage people for projects, but it's very hard to incorporate their operational resource capabilities. So if you're doing resource management but only looking at it from the project side, you're kind of crippling yourself, because it's the operational responsibilities that kill things. Sorry,
I couldn't agree more. I mean, when I was a PMO director, I had the exact same problem. What you do is you basically pre-allocate time for those keeping the lights on activities. So
I know, and you try and play
Yeah.
that game, but unless you have actual agreement from your resource managers, it becomes very difficult.
True. They have to be engaged. They have to be using the tool, and they have to be part of the discussion. So these are tools that they can actually use in order to run their own ad hoc reporting instead of managing their own Excel spreadsheet. So we can help you get started with that. They have to be using the system.
Yeah, I know that's part of the problem for licensing and the challenge there.
Oh, licensing's never a problem. Larry and I figured that part out, right, Larry?
Oh, I let Bryan figure it out.
Yeah.
I'm higher ed. Trust me, it's a problem.
Do you know Carlos Pareja over there?
I do. He used to work for my organization.
Great. I used to work with him at the American Bar Association.
Yeah, he's left us now, but
Okay.
we miss him.
I digress. It helps you manage large programs as well, so you can see basically actuals against plan across your entire portfolio, manage that financially as well as resource-wise, figure out what the status of things are across the board. If you get it all in one place in a centralized location, these things become possible. But it's not just about figuring out what projects and what resources we can staff. It's about how do we collaborate and how do we basically get work done. Project Online, of course, has a complete timesheeting module into it. And timesheeting is also often a necessary evil in regulated industries like financial services, where I'm at. And so you need to track time, although it's sort of a headache. We try to make that easy. Track time in Office 365, not a separate tool. Then it's connected to the projects and not some other thing. Also,
out of curiosity, can you timesheet in with Planner as well if you're using Planner as the front end?
No, Planner really doesn't really capture any meaningful.
Yeah, I know. It's ultra lightweight.
But I got a better idea for you, and it's coming later in the presentation.
Okay.
So forget. So once when people are completing work, we can also analyze the progress against plan and actually submit updates to the project manager. The project manager can actually see how that cascades and it impacts their project before they accept those changes, which is actually really cool. And then, of course, Power BI module, which I'm going to demo in a moment, allows for the complete visibility in real time for what's going on across your portfolio. Just using Power BI, the thing you guys already know how to use or are dabbling with. So it's not rocket science, it's democratization of data in the Power Platform. And so we can take a look at things like getting work done, but it often becomes a discussion of how people want to work. And there's a lot of tools out there that get work done and in what we call work management or ad hoc task management that is not a formal project. So sort of to your point, how do we capture those things and how do we allow people to work in that kind of context, which is the way they want to work today, rather than working off a Gantt chart or reporting their time back to a project manager. So what we're really trying to do with the tool set, as I said, it's evolving, is capture more Kanban-like, Scrum-like activities within the context of the overall database so that we can then report on those things. Managing tasks and time from anywhere on any device is also more important. So a couple of things that you may not have seen yet or recently became available is a a Sprint Kanban board, Sprint or a Kanban board available within Microsoft Project itself, so folks can work that way. They don't have to work in a traditional project plan. We also have the ability to, through our partner ecosystem, integrate with Azure DevOps, so that the work that's going on in Azure DevOps is actually being captured in the overall resource management story. So some of you may be using TFS today. We renamed that into Azure DevOps and Azure Boards. So we can take that work that's going on in Azure Boards on your dev cycles, and we can pull that into the overall context of the portfolio, which is very exciting. Some of the things that we've been doing recently is we've come up with Project Home, which is actually built on the Common Data Service, and we're going to be doing more of that going forward. And then providing better insights into what's going on through Power BI. So I want to get into kind of a little more about what we are planning on doing and what you're going to see coming up in at Ignite. So this is kind of because you guys are part of the tight community here. Wanted to let you know what's going on. So this is the way we're framing this up. We all manage projects. There's no one on this call that does not manage projects or has never managed a project, right? I mean, let's be honest. We all do it. Whether we're a project management professional PMI certified, or you're just doing it in what we call an accidental project manager or a citizen project manager. And so you're doing it on a day-to-day basis. So we all manage projects, but we're not all trained to manage projects. There are many ways to manage work, but legacy tools are inflexible and hard to use. Collaboration is fundamental, but it happens in email, chats, documents, hallways. Teams want to succeed, so they choose their own style and tools and get productive. But now data is everywhere. Reporting is manual, and it's hard to coordinate work, and nobody has the big picture. So what we are trying to do is use the power of the Microsoft Common Data Service platform and the common data model to bring this all together. And we feel like we're in a unique position to do that. So a lot of companies have data kind of everywhere in different places. And what we can do with the Common Data Service is we can provide connectivity to those things across the board. So what we really need to do is connect what's going on in DevOps, what's going on in operations, what's going on in support, what's going on in your PMOs, because that's where all this work is taking place and it's not being captured in an effective way. It's too hard to do it. So we're going to try to bring it all together with Office, Dynamics 365, and Azure in one consolidated platform for work management. So it includes traditional project, Scrum, Kanban, extreme programming, Dynamics 365, F&O, as well as CRM, Office 365, and the power of collaboration, what we call the Power Platform or the Common Data Service, ISVs and partners who extend and connect these things together, and Azure DevOps. And so what we're going to try to do, and what's going to be announced at Ignite, is a more consolidated, modern project interface. Because the Power Platform is one of the biggest bets for 2019 and beyond. Power Platform, on top of what we're doing with Azure, is core of what we're doing as a company. That's what CEO Satya Nadella said back in January, and that's where we're going with projects going forward. One of the first things we built on the Power Platform is called Roadmap. I'm going to demo for you right now. Here's my roadmap. I'm in Office 365. Here's my waffle or my fruit basket, as I heard somebody call it earlier. So here I'm in a roadmap. I have all these things going on. Some of them are projects in Microsoft Project, and some of them are Azure DevOps work streams. And I can pull them all together in one place, and I can manage them right here. I can open up the details, and I can say, what is this strategic plan? It happens to be a project and Project Online. How are my updates synced? What is the status of this? Is it on track? Is it at risk? Is it high risk? Is it done? I can offer call outs and certain things that are milestones going on within the projects themselves, so that I can visualize them in one place here. But if it's an Azure DevOps workstream, I can also pull in those things. So I can see things in one place, and I can get a common picture of what's going on across the board. That's Roadmap, and that's available now in Project Online as part of your subscription.
Can you suck in data from non-Microsoft work streams for things?
Well,
Like,
guess what? This
yeah.
uses flow. So as
Okay.
long as you're connecting the flow to it, you
Uh-huh.
can do that, and our partners can help you do that. Out of the box, it just does Project Online and Azure DevOps so far, but we're thinking about putting Planner in here. We're thinking about putting Jira in here. We're thinking about putting a
Yeah,
lot of things in here.
because it would become way more attractive if you could actually show it if you weren't fully a Microsoft ecosystem.
Well, nobody really is fully a Microsoft
Right.
ecosystem. Our goal here is this is minimum viable product. So we're going to be putting out, there, I found one. There's an integration to Azure DevOps right here. So in here, we've got a flow. It's going to Azure DevOps. If we modify that connection, we can see what data is flowing back and forth. So we're going to be planning on doing this with third-party tools as well. And that's definitely on the roadmap, and that's coming. So pretty exciting. I love the roadmap. I think it could be improved in a lot of ways. I'd love to get your feedback on it. One of the things that I've told the product team is it'd be great if there were visual connections between predecessor, successor relationships in here. I've told the team that it'd be great if you could see progress against plan in here as well.
Well,
Or
you should
shoot.
be able to take the Gantt bars and flip them colors or break them apart in various ways or add in little status indicators.
Yeah, you can do that. You can do the change the color.
Yeah, but this is disconnected
No, I
from
meant,
the underlying project right now.
So one of the things that I wanted to do that I told them was
I think you
a
should be able to
choice.
break apart this, right? Break apart that long bar and show
Like
many
drill
different
down.
things in it. Yeah.
Drill down, drill down. I love that
Yeah.
idea. That's definitely the case. Also, Larry, to your point, we should have a choice whether to connect this to the actual progress or not, because some people might want to use this for tell their own story, regardless of what's going on the ground,
Right.
and have this more of an executive thing where they share it with executives and so forth, and they want to choose whether or not it's going to be impacted by the actual project plan or not. And so I definitely agree.
So is
I
this,
used to,
I just, real quick, is this roadmap view that's here, this is independent of what's going on in platform or portfolio management?
Yeah, it's independent. Once the initial connection's made, then you basically, it'll shift the date accordingly, but it won't shift the color.
Aaron, I think you were going to ask a question.
oh, I used to use a tool called One Pager from Chronicle Graphics pretty extensively in order to do custom pretty print Gants to kind of do these types of roll-ups in various ways. So it'll be really interesting to see this as it progresses along.
Yeah, and this is only one way to visualize this. Here's some other ways. So here's the Power BI out of the box connector. And what I have here is a portfolio dashboard. I can see things by department. I can see things by program, sponsor, governance phase. And you can modify this as needed. This is just Power BI, so I can modify this as filters. I could edit this right now and change the visualizations. I could do more if I'm doing Power BI on a desktop. But here's another view of the timeline. So this may be more attuned to what you're looking for. If I'm using this timeline here, let's go to this tab. This is going to be a little bit more comprehensive. Okay, so here's a timeline here. It actually does show progress against plan. It has this nice little way of I can interact with the timeline here, zoom in and out. I can limit this by department, program, sponsor, governance phase, and this is tied directly to the data. You can't untie it from the data as a matter of fact. So I could basically see what's going on in my project portfolio in its entirety. And then from there, I can click on one of these projects and drill down even further.
But do you have that also tied to your Azure DevOps and other data sources other than just project? Because that's the one thing that's really attractive about the roadmap.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Easily done. This is a Power BI report, like I said. So this is the out of the box. It's strictly tied to Project Online. Don't let that scare you off, because basically all I need to do is pull in the Azure DevOps data into Power BI, and I need to mash it with this, and I need to visualize that in the same place. We have partners that can help you do that. You could do that yourself. One of the things I told the product team is, hey, we need to get that Azure DevOps stuff in a tab over here at least, so that people can visualize that. And if they're not using it, fine, it'll just be fine. resource, okay, so you can see portfolio costs, milestones, risks, issues, but once all the data is in the database, guys, this all becomes possible. And this is amazing for project managers because they're spending an inordinate amount of time actually building these reports in PowerPoint or Excel, and they're not able to actually do the important things that they need to do as project managers, which is manage issues, risks, make sure things stay on track, manage their sponsors, manage their constituents, and so forth. So checking out the project status report that's coming up. Once the data's in, you can see schedule variance, work variance, cost variance, project cost, but you can also see a description of what's going on in the project, the problem statement, project status, red, yellow, green, indicators like traffic light indicators. You can see what are the upcoming milestones. People are creating these things again in PowerPoint, and it's creating a lot of time suck for them. So if I can just cruise around to different projects, check out what's going on. And then if I want to share this with somebody, I can simply share that through Power BI. I can also print it out as a PowerPoint presentation. So I can export it to PowerPoint, and it's going to actually generate a real-time PowerPoint presentation that I can then send statically. And so things to expect at Ignite. This is kind of the big deal. This is a screenshot only. It's a wireframe. There is working code. I've seen it. And it's basically a minimum viable product right now. It's going to be released at Ignite. And it's going to be made available in November, December timeframe, is what I'm hearing. We call it the project service with a small s. Other ways things we're calling is the modern project, but it's basically when we release it in GA, it's just going to be project. And it's going to be a new interface within Office 365 for creating project plans. It's not going to leverage the project client, although we'll still have the project client and still be available. This is meant for folks that are using and creating project plan collaboratively online. Currently, these people are doing this outside of Microsoft Project because it's too much tool for them. It's too challenging for them to get up to speed on it. They're not professional project managers. They are citizen project managers. We want to basically pull in this entire community of people that are trying to get work done. And to do that, we need to create a more easy to use, user-friendly, less whistles, less bells interface. And it also is going to allow co-authoring on a project plan in real time in a browser. So you're going to be able to create a project plan, edit it. You're going to be able to assign resources. It's going to have a scheduling engine so that things that depend on other things are going to get moved out accordingly. You're going to have the opportunity to open it up in Microsoft Project proper and go from there. So this is what we're going to be calling project going forward. We're still going to be offering the traditional tools as well. But this is really for an entirely new community of project managers. These people are using other tools today as a crutch. They're using Smartsheet, they're using Trello, they're using Asana, they're using Jira. And we want to embrace those communities and pull them into the Office 365 ecosystem. I'll pause there for questions.
Yeah, well, I'll chime in that this kind of reminds me of something we could have mentioned in the news and information part of the meeting, but across the Office family of products, there was an announcement earlier, maybe last week, that we're dropping the online suffix for the browser-based incarnations of our products. So whereas we had Word on the desktop and we had Word online in the browser, now it's just Word everywhere. And you know, if we ever need to differentiate, we will say Word in a browser or Word on the web, but it's the same product, desktop or you know, browser-based. And it seems to me, Bryan, that what you're showing here in the vision and direction that you're talking about, it's the same analogy for Microsoft Project. It's the same product. It's just the browser-based living incarnation of Microsoft Project.
That's absolutely right. And it's going to become easier to use. It's going to be completely redesigned from the ground up, UX. And it's going to be very exciting because we feel like there's a huge opportunity for Microsoft to play in the project management space that's less advanced, that's more work management focused. These people need our help in order to create adequate project plans that have a scheduling engine, Stop doing it in Excel. Stop doing it in other tools and spreading your data all over the cloud. You can do it in a trustworthy, private, secure way in Office 365, and you can use Microsoft Project to do that.
This will be really interesting to see how it develops, and once it's away from screenshots into something we could actually look at.
Yep. And it's coming as soon as it starts to get cold out. So, yeah.
I was going to say, Aaron, going back to your earlier question that Bryan put you on pause about with regard to Planner, is this, it seems to me, would be that step up in capability from what Planner offers, but yet it's not too complex that we can't use it for day-to-day simple work and task management. Would you agree?
I think totally agree 100%.
We're really going to have to see, though, what the interface ends up looking like. I have people
Right.
who really love the drag and drop of Planner.
Yeah.
Really, really, really love the drag and drop and the ease of use. So,
Yeah.
you know, it'll be entirely dependent upon how this thing is built and is developed.
You see where it says board right here?
Yeah.
Okay, that's going to be cards, just like Planner.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm a recovering project manager, so.
Yeah, aren't we all? Yep. So this is going to be, I think, a prescription for your troubles. But basically, guys, this is happening at Ignite. So please stay tuned to that programming so that you're up to speed. People are going to start asking for this in your environments, and it's going to be available GA very, very soon.
The next question would be, how is it going to get licensed? Which
I
is always
can't
the
tell you.
devil, you know?
Yeah, that will definitely impact your ability to leverage it. Understood.
No, it's going to be a la carte. It's not going to be put into an E3 or an E5. It's going to be a la carte because not everybody in your organization needs it, and that's going to continue to be the case.
Well, the real question, though, and one of the things that's really killed us about why we don't do Project Online is that we've only really been able to have one project online for our tenant. And what I really need are kind of distributed pop-ups for project for users who want to use it that's not going to make implications for the rest of my university.
Oh, like
you can have as many project online tenants as you want in Office 365 today.
Yeah, but then I've got tenant management headaches and all the rest of it, right? I'm trying not to avoid having yet even more tenants. What I want is to have, you know, one place where I can manage it. So for like this project light type stuff, if I could assign licenses to people and then they could use it without making any kind of portfolio implications, you know, would be glorious.
I see.
So kind of like independent departmental instances is what it sounds like you need.
Yeah, but without having to spin up new tenants.
Right.
I can do that today. So we can talk offline about that. I mean, you can departmentalize an individual tenant. It takes some configuration, and we can help you get aligned with someone that can do that for you. That shouldn't be a problem. But basically what this is going to be is more of a self-service thing. So you can just get started. I don't think it's going to have any ability to right off the bat on day one. I could be wrong, but I don't think it's going to have any ability to consolidate these plans together into a portfolio. That's definitely something that's more of a roadmap item. Anyway, so wanted to share that with you. Can't get into any more detail, although I know a lot more than I'm telling you, but can't do that unless we're on NDA and this is kind of a user group. But so what do you guys think?
Sounds exciting to me.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Well, thanks for having me. And I'm bquick at Microsoft.com. Also on LinkedIn if you guys want to connect afterward.
Terrific. Really appreciate it, Bryan. Bryan, thank you.
Hey, that doesn't happen every day. Thanks.